Please, I can't sleep.
It's time to listen to Courtney at last on the Ramblings of an Insomniac podcast.
Hello, welcome to episode 73 of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I'm Courtney Perry. Welcome. If this is your first time or, 73rd time of listening, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it. So what has been keeping me up as of late? Intent. Intent has been keeping me up. People's intentions. People can have the best intentions and somehow end up not having the best outcome. Some people could have bad intentions and somehow they also fail. Something ends up working out for the person they're trying to maybe screw over or something. But I always ask myself, are intentions important? What were your intentions? And you hear that a lot when it comes to like court. You hear that in marriages. You hear that just in general. What was someone's intent? Were they trying to kill someone or was it accidental? Was it manslaughter? Was it premeditated or was it impulsive? Was someone trying to be a bitch or rude or did it just come off that way? Because sometimes people sound rude. They just kind of have that voice that they sound rude, or maybe they're just being blunt, but it doesn't make them rude. They're not intending to be rude or disrespectful. They're just out, they're blunt, they're direct. So I just have been thinking a lot about intent. And for example, I had every intention in the world. Last night, I had every intention in the world of being productive today. I was going to thoroughly clean my house from top to bottom. I was going to go all Monica on Friends and just organize everything and just really be productive. And I ended up staying up so late last night. I stayed up till after 2 a.m. and then I woke up at 5 and fell back asleep until I woke up at 5, stayed up till about 5:30, and then fell asleep again, and then woke up at a little after 6, about 6:05 is what it said. And I've been doing that a lot lately. Hence ramblings up in insomniac, because I have insomnia. I do indeed suffer from insomnia, and I don't sleep well. And last night was no exception. So I had intentions on being productive today, and I have accomplished very little, not going to lie. I have this thing where I feel like I need to get just a huge amount done on my days off, and I don't like being lazy. I'm not one to sit around and relax. I always feel like there's something that you should and could be doing. Relaxing isn't, my idea of relaxing is cleaning sometimes, depending on what I'm cleaning. There's things I do not like to clean, and it's not relaxing to me at all. For example, putting away laundry. I don't mind washing laundry because, let's face it, the washer and dryer wash and dry it for you. It's not like I'm over in a creek using one of those washboards or anything. The washing machine does it all. I don't even mind folding laundry. Folding laundry, great. But putting away groceries, putting away laundry and unpacking after you've stayed the night somewhere, I just don't like it. Putting away things. Like I like putting away things when I've used something, like I use scissors or I use a hammer, I use a pen. I use my keys. I'll put those back. In fact, I can't stand it when people don't put things back where they belong. It drives me insane because inevitably I will go to use that thing and it won't be where it's supposed to be. And that just tears me apart inside. I can't handle it. But putting away stuff, like I said, like groceries or laundry, just not my forte. And I have laundry to wash. I have laundry to put away. My house really needs to be cleaned. And my intention today was to do all of that. And somehow I have done none of it. Instead, I have made some podcast videos. So that's productive. I have exercised my dogs 3 times now. That's productive, right? I have made a TikTok video. I suppose that's productive. Um, Other than that, I fed my animals. Does that count? But I've also learned that there are days that if your body is just exhausted, absolutely exhausted, and you are mentally and physically exhausted, sometimes you just need to take a cue from what your body is telling you. And your body is desperately saying, hey, lady, I know you want to get stuff done, but let's slow your roll for a second. Let's give us some energy. Let's give us some energy to work with for your long list of things you want to do. I can't really do it off of no sleep and not eating something. Because up until about 10 minutes before I started this podcast, I also hadn't eaten anything. So I'm trying to do stuff on, not giving my body the fuel that it needs to do it, and then wondering why I'm so tired and, not motivated. Well, I'm exhausted and hungry. Not a good combo when you have a lot of stuff that you want to accomplish, right? So then I thought, you know what? I'm going to take this day to just be lazy, watch stupid shows. I don't mean the shows are stupid. I just meant, stuff that doesn't require really a brain, stuff that's just fun and that I would, of course, let my dogs out periodically and do some podcasts and such. But I really, as a whole, think that I'm just going to be extraordinarily lazy. But then I sit around and I look around at my house and I'm like, oh my God, I can't be lazy when I know that my house needs to be cleaned. I know that there are things that need to be done. I need to go to the store. I need to do my laundry. I need to put away the laundry I've done. I need to do some cleaning for sure. And then I think, well, God, then I'm only going to have these other 2 days to do it. And then I'm going to rush. But then again, I'm like, but I'm tired. And why can't I allow myself? Why do I have such a hard time allowing myself some rest? I don't like lazy, but sometimes then I have to look at it like, but I'm not lazy. I'm not a lazy person. I'm having a lazy day, one lazy day, because the other days of the week I work full time. And not only do I work full time, but I volunteer to walk someone's dog that's an elderly person whose husband passed away. And she's no longer, her dog is just a little too hyper for her. And so I help her with her dog. I help her train her dog and I help her walk her dog. And I help another person who's also elderly that once in a while needs some errands run. And I take people to appointments and stuff. And so I figure, and I'm always cleaning my house and I'm always working on my property. And I go visit my grandkids and I hang out with them and I help babysit them and I help look after them. And so I think I'm not a lazy person. So it's okay to have a lazy day, right? It's okay to allow yourself a day of rest. I mean, even Jesus says I'm not going to pretend I can quote the Bible, you guys. I'm not even going to pretend like I can, but I know somewhere in there it says you need a day of rest, right? So that's what I'm going to try to do. It's just hard for me because I kind of sit there and go, oh, I should be doing something, but I just can't seem to get motivated. So I'm in my sweats. I'm in my favorite Kentucky shirt and, I've been chilling today and it's actually been kind of lovely. In fact, I don't even feel like taking a shower, which I probably should. You can probably hear my dog panting in the background. I apologize. I just exercised him and ate before I started this podcast, and he's kind of panting quite loudly in the background. No crickets this time. It's panting dogs instead of crickets, and buzzing flies and buzzing bees. Not the sweet bumblebees and honeybees. No, I've got yellow jackets, even though I have sprayed for them. And I tell you, they're kind of little bastards. I try to look at it like they're just curious and that they're just seeing what's going on and they're just wondering what's going on. And they're like, hey, how are you? How are you? What you doing? When they're all up in your face, maybe they're like, hey, you, hi, look at me. And maybe they're just attention whores. Maybe they just really want attention, but they're kind of mean. and they're pretty pushy about it. They're like a liberal. They just really get in your face and really try to cram down their agenda. They're like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's like a liberal. I'm going to start saying that liberals should identify as wasps, as yellow jackets. They just invade and take over and devour and try to tear apart. They try to tear down and tear apart, and they get all up in your business and push themselves on you, just like a yellow jacket, you know? So you might hear those in the background, even though I've sprayed. They just really love the eaves of my house. And I try not to kill things. I really don't. If I'm outside in their environment, I'm like, look, I'm in their environment. I don't really have a right to be killing living things. Who am I? It's being a bully. They're not doing anything to me. They're important to the ecosystem. I know that yellow jackets pollinate. I know that they devour carcasses. So they're kind of like the cleanup crew, just like a vulture. And I'm sure they're someone's food source. Maybe another animal eats, although my dog just tried to eat one. He never learns, I swear. He's been stung so many times. At least we know he's not allergic. But, maybe they are a snack for another animal. So I try to leave them alone. But man, they just get all, and you can't eat outside. You cannot eat outside. They try to eat my cat food. At this point, I'm feeding the yellow jackets. Every time I set my bowls out for my cats, the yellow jackets just swarm. And so I've had to put out a bait bowl. I've had to set a bowl aside of cat food and then sprinkle a little cat food away from my cats so that the bees will go to that instead of trying to eat out of my cats' bowls. I'm afraid my cats are going to get stung. And they're so pushy. They're very pushy. It's insane. So, intent. And speaking of intent, I've been thinking, what is the intent of our government? What is their agenda right now? What is it that they're trying to push? What are they intending for the American public to see and hear? What are they intending to keep from us? What are they trying to accomplish, our government? Are they trying to just see? I keep thinking it's like the Truman Show, and one day someone's going to jump out and go, psych, you've all been part of one gigantic experiment. Some of you passed, some of you failed. I'm waiting for it to be the Truman Show and us be just set up like guinea pigs and someone's just doing a test to see how we fare. I mean, part of me hopes that's true. Part of me hopes that this crazy world has just been a joke. And then part of me is like, well, God, that would kind of suck because there's been some really great shit too, But what is the government's intent right now? What are the Republicans' intent? What are the Democrats' intent? What are the Catholics, the Jewish people, the atheists, the men, the women, the Asians, the Native Americans? What is our intent? When you wake up in the morning, are you intending on being a good influence on someone or a poor influence? Are you intending on making the most out of life and living life to the fullest? Or do you intend on being grumpy Eeyore? Do you intend on being kind and respectful and helpful and being part of the solution? Or do you intend on being disrespectful, rude, and part of the problem? Do you intend on making someone's life better and your own life better? Or do you intend to make it your mission to make someone else's life crap so that you can feel better? Do you intend on being successful? And by successful, I just mean, you're able to pay your bills. You're able to have people that like you and trust you and care about you. Or do you have people that are secretly plotting your death because you're such an asshole? Who knows? But intent. I've really been trying to understand people's intent and motivation and what they're trying to accomplish. So I ask you, what is your intentions for the day? What are your intentions for the week, for the year, for your life? What do you want out of it? What are you trying to achieve? I try to ask myself that so that I can plan my day and see what kind of human, I really am. And it's okay if you wake up and say, you know what, I intend on just being lazy today and getting absolutely nothing achieved at all because I've earned it. Or I intend on just kind of allowing myself to be grouchy today and punch a punching bag and go through being grouchy because emotions are important and it is okay and necessary. It's necessary to feel anger and frustration and sadness because you have to have all of those emotions. You have to express and feel and go through all of those emotions to be a human. To be able to deal with stuff, you have to also go through the bad and allow yourself to be frustrated and angry. You just can't live in that, right? So, what are my intentions? And I try to think of somebody else's intentions. Again, maybe someone came off rude, but that was not their intent. They're maybe having a bad day. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they're tired and they weren't trying to be rude. They're just in a hurry. They're just having a day. So were they intending on pissing me off or am I allowing it? Am I allowing them to piss me off? Did they intend to do it? Even if they did, am I allowing it? What do we allow? Not only what are our intentions, but what are we allowing in? Are we allowing the negativity to destroy us? Are we allowing it to build us and make us stronger? Are we allowing the negativity of the world to bring us down? Or are we using it as fuel to be better? I don't know. These are the things I've been thinking of. These are the things that have been keeping me up recently. I've also been thinking about things that I have this healer puppy, as I told you guys about, Puck, to add to my menagerie of animals. And I wanted a working dog. I like the energy of a working dog. I like the herding dogs. I like the breeds that you can mentally and physically drain. Like I said, labs, I think, are the sweetest dogs ever. But I don't want one because to me, you can never fully mentally or physically drain them. Only for about 10 minutes and then they're raring to go again. They're like ADHD, crackhead. They're like the Robin Williams and the Jim Carreys. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I was never a fan of Robin Williams or Jim Carrey. They're too hyper for me. I don't like really hyper. I can't handle really hyper. It's too much. It's too sensory overload. It's a lot of sensory coming at you. I need the calmer vibe. And labs are kind of the frat boys. They're like, yeah, they mean no ill will. They just want to have a good time. They're here for the party. They just want to have fun and live life. And they're not trying to cause anybody harm. They're not intending. Their intentions are not bad. But sometimes they get a little carried away. Sometimes they get carried away and they accidentally destroy stuff. And then they're like, oh, shit, my bad. So I think of them kind of like there's a very loud airplane. Sorry, it's a very loud jet in the background. But labs are great, but they're just like the toga wearing frat boys that smash the beer cans. They're like, yeah, we're here for a good time. Woo, yeah. And they mean well. But sometimes they get a little crazy, a little overexcited and cause some mischief along the way. But I was thinking about Puck and my dogs and just looking at them and the different things that their different personality traits and how much they crack me up because we have such different levels of energy and different personalities and they're all so great. And I love them all for different reasons. And I was like, would I be a working breed? Would I be a herding breed? Probably. But I was thinking about training dogs and people having dogs. And like I said, I work at a boarding facility and I notice how people are with their dogs and how people train their dogs. And then I think, man, do you train your kids the same way? Do you allow your kids to get away with everything? No one wants to discipline their dogs anymore. No one wants to hold their dogs accountable. They feel like that's abuse, just like they feel like it's abuse if you discipline or hold your kids accountable. And it's not. It's abuse if you don't. I feel it's abuse if you don't hold your kids or dogs accountable. I feel it's abuse if they don't have boundaries. I feel like it's neglect if you don't exercise your dog mentally and physically on a regular basis. And if you don't feed them a healthy amount, because you shouldn't let your dog get obese. You shouldn't let your child get obese. This causes massive, massive health problems. So I encourage people to remember that dogs, like humans, cannot get overweight. If they get overweight, they have a myriad of health issues. They absolutely need to stay in shape and fit mentally and physically. It is important to give not only physical exercise, but mental exercise. Like if your dog is really driven by tennis balls or treats, hide them around the house, make them use that nose and that brain to find it. Or you hide yourself somewhere in the house and make a little noise and have them come look for you. Or make them sit before they eat and go put the bowl in another room and make them drain that energy. Little things like making them wait before you walk out the door, making them wait before they eat a meal. Little things like using their nose and hiding a treat or a ball and making them find it. That's mentally draining, and that's amazing for a dog. And of course, the physical aspect of it as well. But herding dogs and working dogs especially really need that mental part of it. A Chihuahua only needs, I'm sure, it doesn't need obviously as much exercise. They need exercise, but not as much. They need mental, but not as much. But all dogs, every single breed of dog needs to be at a good weight. And remember to not bring them outside when it's really hot without any shade and without water. And I know this sounds like a duh, but I can't tell you how many of our customers allow our dogs to walk on hot pavement. And I've said this 100 times, just another reminder. If it's too hot for your feet, if it's too hot for your hands, it's too hot for a dog's paws. They can get burns on their paws. And if it's, 85 degrees outside and there's no shade for a dog, that's not good. They can get heat stroke. And being overweight for a dog is the same as being overweight for a human. Not healthy. So just a reminder. I was thinking about Puck, and people are like, oh my God, your dog's so skinny. He's so skinny. He's so anorexic. And I'm like, God, are we going to shame dogs now too? Not just humans, but we're going to shame dogs now. It's not skinny. It's just that people are so used to obese dogs and obese humans that if anyone is the weight that they should be, or a dog is the weight they should be, people think that they're not being fed and that they're being neglected. No, it's just called healthy, and we're not used to healthy in America. We're not healthy mentally or physically in America right now. We're very obese, and we're pretty mentally messed up right now. So let's not also drag our animals into the equation, right? They're innocent bystanders in all of this. They look up to us to help them with these things. Let's not let them down. So that, and just the fact that it's been hotter than heck, and I'm kind of looking forward to some rain. Seems like everywhere around the world's getting some hot weather, and this is not climate change. I'm over the climate change thing. The world has been heating and cooling itself since its existence. What we need to be worried about is our soil. Our soil is what is being depleted. It takes more and more fruits and vegetables to eat to get the nutrients that we used to be able to get out of one apple, one banana, one serving of broccoli, one serving of a vegetable now takes like 8 servings to be able to get the same nutrients. So this global warming thing is just out of control and cracking me up. And I highly suggest people look up facts and quit just making things up, because again, an electric car is far worse for the environment than a gas guzzling car. That's just a fact. It's not my opinion. It's a fact. We need to focus on facts and the intent behind the government trying to push electric cars. What is their intent? Where are they coming from? The intent on people trying to push transgender and gender fluid. What is the intent? Where are they coming from? Where are they going with it? Let's just look at things with intent, So those are some things that have been on my mind on episode 70. What are we doing? 73? Is that what I said? 73 of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. Again, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate every single one of you. You. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Thank you so much. I'm wishing you all a most fabulous rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are. Until next time.